Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's February 20th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and this will wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Fridays, so no chart lesson tomorrow. We'll be back Monday. Just quickly looking at our daily chart here, you can see we turned down right off that upper trend. We did push through it yesterday before the close, but we turned down right off of it when this bar opened. And we traded all the way down and tested this previous resistance, and it acted like support. So we're kind of stuck in between these two now. I still think this market may work higher. We'll have to see. I wouldn't expect we would have recovered today. So uh, most of this sell-off, if we weren't going to push higher, we're still making higher. Well, I take that back. We did make a slightly lower low from this one, but it's still much higher than this previous one, and you would expect prices to pull back and test this breakout before they go higher again. So everything's still pointing to a possibility of going higher is basically what I'm telling you here. We could just get stuck in this range and turn back down, but right now there's still hints that we may go higher. So we just have to kind of wait and let it play out. Things move really slowly on the daily chart. That's the problem. It's hard to, I mean, 4 or 5 bars on a 10 bars on a 2000 tick chart might take 15 or 20 minutes, where a daily chart you're only getting a bar every day. So things move exceptionally slow. So just be aware of that. But let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart, take a look at it, work through the chart, go through the trades, and we'll wrap this week up. And here it is. There was no news today. The only one is this President Trump, and that's tonight at 6:20. And so there's really nothing else here to affect the market. Prices turned down off those highs and turned down. We got a break here and tempted to make a new low. We never really made one. Prices just kind of found support, and we trended up the rest of the day. Pretty choppy, but we did trend up and close higher. And there was a gap on the overhead chart from yesterday. We didn't fill it. We opened here, never could get up there. So prices were probably attempting to fill that gap as they pulled higher here. But let's zoom in, go through the trades, and we'll wrap this day up and wrap up this week. Okay, 7 o'clock comes right in here. I think it was started on this bar right here. And there is a lower high there. I did not mark that one. Well, actually, I take that back. It didn't start right. I think it was this bar. Yeah, this bar. And then there's no setup there, of course. But notice we made this triple test down here, and then we tried to go lower once, and then twice. And so we got multiple tests across there. And so I like going long on that. You got a low, and then you really try to go lower once, twice, 3 times in there. So I like going long on that triple test, and it just runs back up to the top, and then we're going sideways again. Now, there's a lower high here inside the range, and you might have taken that trade. I didn't mark it. I didn't like it in real time. You might have taken that. It is a second entry short, and it does turn out right off the support, and it kind of confirms that trend line too. But there's still a chance that we could push higher here. It's hard to explain this when we're working sideways, but we're also got this downtrend. This is just sideways stuff, so you really can't get real confident in this trend line is going to hold, or if this range is going to hold, because you don't have, neither one of them is really a dominant pattern yet. It turns out the downtrend line is the dominant pattern, but you don't know that this early, so that's the problem there. So but either way, there's still a chance that prices could go higher here. They could break out, even if only temporary. If you took this trade, I wouldn't beat you up too bad. It is a second entry short, because this is a double bottom here, so it's a first entry, second entry, but we didn't make that new high yet. So my thing was, let's see if we get a triple test, but we don't. We ended up kind of getting a new, this is really more like this. We end up getting a new sideways channel here, and then you definitely don't want to enter in that. So if you didn't enter here, you couldn't enter. And if you entered here, you had to really ride all that out. So, um, but if you took that, I mean, when you put that to the far right side of the chart, it doesn't look nearly as bad. You can see there. It doesn't look as bad as it does once you get that next couple of bars. Um, and then after that, you just have to sit tight. And of course, we break out, we come back, we test it, and you get a first entry short, and you come back and test it again, you get a second entry short. Now again, you're working a little sideways, but you also can argue you got a failed second entry long, you got a second entry short. That trend line is proven now. There's still plenty of room to these lows. I like going short on that one. You don't know that it's going to break out and go all the way down, but it does. You almost could enter on this one, but the fact that this one did not break lower, and then this one's right into those lows. If I didn't enter here, I'm probably going to skip that one. Now, again, you might enter there, but I'm just not crazy about it. Turns out it's a great move, but you really should have been in here, and then it's getting riskier here because it didn't break lower. And it does go lower, and then we're working sideways again. Again, you can see we're kind of in a sideways range, but notice you get a first entry, second entry, and this breaks higher first and fails and turns down. Because that's a, let me zoom in here, that's a really small. Because that's a fully bullish bar, oh, where my little, you could enter that on the engulfing bar. So, and also you try to go higher once, twice. It's a little sideways, so for that reason I marked it green. But you could still go short there, but it had to be on the engulfing bar. I don't think I'd go low short right there after this closed back inside. There's a lower high here, but it's too far away from the EMA. And then you notice what we're doing. We're dropping down sideways, dropping down sideways. So we drop down and we're sideways again. And I don't see anything there that's worth entering. I just sit tight, and you just really kind of have to watch this because there's no good entries. And then it reverses off the low down here, and you wouldn't necessarily have this low down here yet, but that's where I moved it to. And there is a higher low here. It's not a perfect signal bar, and you don't have a new low on this yet. This should be over here a little bit more. But there's still no break of it. So you're still expecting prices to maybe go lower. So I'm not crazy about entering there. But notice you run up, you get a close outside, and you move to a new high, and you just do make a new high. And so I like going short there just to ride it back to the EMA. We still could go to the other side of the channel, but you're probably going to at least get a scalp out of this since you got plenty of room back to the EMA. And it does it. It actually pushes on through there, gets a break, move to a new low, and then you get a second entry long. So I like going long again there. We almost got a higher low here, but didn't really get one, and it takes off, and we're headed back to the trend line. You do get a close outside and a new high, but we're not quite back to the trend line. Not a very good signal bar. Looks a little congested. Just sit tight, and you can see that that was the right move because we do end up going higher and making a new high before prices turn down. And again, you just don't really, you got a little trend up here, but you've also got a little congestion across here that breaks out. But I don't see a setup there I like. There is a lower high here, but I think it's moved too far. And plus, we're almost back to the trend line, and it could bounce there, and we could get a break and make a new high. So I'm wary about entering there. This is just a first entry. There is a hidden second entry there, but it's hard to know what prices are doing here just yet. So I would wait. And you just don't get another entry here. We're just kind of, we continue moving on down. Finally, you get a second entry. Triple top there. Second entry. Good signal bar. and it runs on down, makes a new low, but it ends up kind of making a range here. I don't think I would draw this as a range until you kind of got some more price action over here. But you get a failed breakout here, but you can't go long yet. And notice this one working up. You get a close outside, move to a new high. It's not a very convincing close outside, but we're turning down. There's at least a triple test. This bar is it's 8 ticks. It doesn't really close in this lower 1/3, I don't think. It's a possibility. If you took it, I wouldn't beat you up too bad. Then it looked like we were going to get a chance to go long. It doesn't break higher. Runs up, you get another channel up, close outside. It doesn't quite make a new high, but it does make a second entry there. Notice you got a little double bottom, so first entry, second entry. And again, this is mostly bullish. It breaks higher and fails and turns down. I think you could go long on either on the engulfing bar or when it closes. Now again, I talk about this all the time. If you're fairly new to this, don't enter on engulfing bars. Wait till they close. Otherwise, you're going to get burned because you're not going to be skilled enough to understand them really well and read them really well. So, and you're going to get stopped out a lot. So usually people write me and they're struggling and they're trying to trade engulfing bars. And I tell them, leave them alone, just concentrate on the basics, and then suddenly their trading improves a lot. So trust me when I tell you this. But second entry short, runs down, bounces, and you actually get a new trend up, close outside, and you get a couple legs up, and you test this again with a triple test with a nice signal bar. I like that one. This turns out to be a pretty good move down too. Probably get a runner there if you tried to get one. And then you get a close out. You got a little channel working down, close outside, new low, and you get a second entry long. Again, you need to wait on a higher low here most likely, but there's reasons to want to take that. So maybe we do get a new low here. I was thinking after the break of the main channel, we never got a new low, but maybe we did. 6103, 50. No, it is a double bottom. I thought it was. But you get two legs back up and then a second entry back up at the, back inside the range again. Then it comes back up. Comes back up, gives you another great signal bar right off the highs. Plenty of room to get out. I like taking that one. That would be the key on this one, just to make sure you got room to scalp out. You see where it bounces. You actually go a good bit low. I think this almost gets 4 points of movement. Doesn't look like it there. Let's get this back to looking a little more normal. But I like going long there. It bounces off the lows. I think that closes in the upper 1/3. And unfortunately, you don't get a runner on this one. You just a lot of times I wouldn't even try for a runner in these tight ranges. But if you got plenty of room, maybe you do, and you're getting good trends from side to side. But this thing takes off, and unfortunately, it would have scalped you out and come back before it goes higher again. They know where those cheap, those easy cheap stops are, and they're going to try to get them most of the time. The stop hunters are going to try to get them, but you get a nice trend up, close outside, and a few swings to a new high. I don't see how you can go short there though. It runs back up one more time and then it turns down. And again, I don't see any setups here to get short. This lower high has moved way too far, and it's not a reversal or anything. And you finally get a break here, and you do get a first entry, second entry, and you get a close outside a new high all in one bar. I marked this one green, but you could almost argue for it to be red. Because you're expecting a retest to the low, and you're expecting prices were headed down. We're probably headed back to the trend line. Sure enough, it bounces right off the trend line, but that's just a first entry. But right here you get a higher low and a second entry long. I like going long there again. Takes off. This comes back just a first entry, no setup. There's a higher low, but it's not a good setup. And there is a trend line working up here. and you do get a closing new high. Um, you might go short right there. Again, it's better off to wait on the lower high, and you don't really get one. And now you get a break of the two-tiered blue channel there. Change the color of that one so they're not mixed up. But the shorter term blue channel in there, you get the break and move to a new high. I didn't mark this either, but you clearly got a good solid foundation right there. I just think I would wait on a high or low, and it never comes. It just takes off. But you're expecting prices to retest this high here. So it's another possibility. The problem is you have no break and new low yet, so I think it's just too early to go long right there. But if you took that, I think it's risky, but I think it's one that it may be worth the risk. Notice we run up, make a new high, and then make one more push and kind of make a double bottom. And that's a second entry short. First entry, second entry, nice signal bar. Don't enter that one on the engulfing bar. Just wait till it closes, and it closes bearish. You can enter there. And then you get a triple test and lower high as well here. So enter there as well. If you didn't enter here, definitely enter here. And you just kind of you get a close outside pretty quickly. I drew this channel. It definitely was a trend line there, but I think in the end you're probably better off playing this like so. And then you get a failed breakout here that you'd probably want to ride back. Again, you want to probably wait on the higher low, but maybe you take that one. Because if you're looking at this trend line, you do get two legs down and a couple of extra swings there. So maybe you ride that back. It turns out to be a pretty nice move, and then that takes you into 230. So kind of a similar pattern. We start off trading down and we find support, and by the end of the day they take a lot of it back. We didn't quite recover as much today as we have previous days, but we still recovered a great deal of the sell-off before the day was over. And that seems to be the MO lately. And as I've said the last couple of days, don't let it lull you to sleep, because eventually you'll come down here and it'll look like it's going to get support, and it'll give, and it'll make another measured leg down on you, and you'll get burned. So make sure before you go long down here, you're getting good setups and you got reasons to go long. Don't just arbitrarily try to pick bottoms or think make sure you get your break and attempt at a low, and you want to see multiple tries like this that fail before you think about going long again. You're better off to try to take all these shorts as it continues to try to push lower and make a new low. So that would be how I would advise you there. But anyway, there it is. Kind of the same type day we've been having, the early sell-off with the late afternoon recovery of some amount. So we'll see what tomorrow brings, if we continue to chop sideways or push forward again, or if we get some follow-through selling maybe. It's really hard to tell by, I mean, there's no solid clues in the daily that's going to tell us exactly what we might expect. And so we'll sit and we'll wait, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. But anyway, I hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday. I don't believe there's any more holidays coming up for a while, so we'll be back Monday, and we'll get a full 4 days next week as well. Kind of get back on track. I'm kind of back on track now, so appreciate you being patient with me. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.